have to come right back in. So I will pause and wait for you there. While we're waiting for those people to pop back in, notice that on the slide that I have that I'm sharing with you right now, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a short little bit.ly address. If you write that down, or if you type it into another tab on your browser, that bit.ly/cbcarts will take you to this presentation. You can then make a copy of this presentation, or you can put a star on it, and it'll save it into your Google Drive so you can come back and refer to it later on. Okay, we're only doing a short half-hour session with this one, so there may be stuff in the presentation we don't actually even get to. Okay, if you want to get access to all of the resources that the lead teachers and the technology coaches are putting together, they are all in our Google Classroom, thanks to Vanessa. Okay, if you go to classroom.google.com and you click the plus button and say join, and then put in that code that's on the Chrome logo, 5CGWBPP, that'll give you access to our Google Classroom where you can ask questions and get other materials. Okay, so a couple resources for you before we get started. All right. Purpose of this session is to get you oriented to what a Chromebook can and can't do and how you can and can't do it on a Chromebook. Okay, because unlike Carol, most of us at this point are working from home. And so we want to make sure that you have a device. And so IMS signed them out to you guys upon request. And so we wanted to take you through the basics because a Chromebook is a lot different than a laptop or a MacBook or a PC. Okay, it essentially always requires the internet. If you have questions, please, at any point, unmute your mic and interrupt me. I do not mind that. I prefer to have more people asking questions and me answering them than me just droning on and on and on. Although Carol can tell you I can drone on and on and on. All right. So if you don't want to say the question out loud, you can click in the upper right-hand corner where the people symbol is, and then there's a little chat bubble there. You can type in the chat window, and I will try to keep an eye on that too. Okay, so either place you want to ask your question, I'd be glad to answer it. All right, so what you're looking at here is the slide that talks about how you log into a Chromebook. And this slide is actually designed to give you an idea of how the students are logging in. So when you flip open a Chromebook, it'll power on automatically, and it'll go to a login screen within 10 seconds, which is a lot quicker than a PC. When you're at that login screen, you only need to put in your username. For students, it begins with the year they graduate. For staff, it's just your 8-letter username. So mine would be Bull John. You do not need to add the shenschools.org when you are on a Chromebook. Okay, if you were on a PC and you were trying to use Chrome to sign into your Google Drive and stuff, you would need to add that at shenschools.org. So only on a Chromebook, it's just your 8 letters. And then your password is the same. I got an email from somebody today, and I don't remember who it was, so I can't even throw them under the bus, saying, I changed my shennet.org email a while ago, and now I can't get into my shenschools.org email. And so I just typed in a quick message back saying it's the same password. Okay, there is no different password anymore. The one you use to log into a computer also gets you logged into a Chromebook, also gets you logged into your Gmail and Google services. Okay, it's the same password. If you forget or lose your password, hopefully you went to the Shen password recovery tool and set up your ask me these 3 questions and I can reset my password. If not, you have to call IMS. Okay, that tool is right off the main staff page off the ShenNet website. So if you haven't done that, I would strongly urge you to go set up that tool because it means you don't have to talk to a single person to reset your Shen password. You just have to answer some security questions. All right. Student passwords can only be reset by IMS or by the computer lab aides. So if you're working with a student and they can't remember their password, then you're going to need to contact IMS. Okay. Their phone number is 881-0700. All right, so Chromebooks are a lot different than a PC or a Mac. On a PC, you run Windows. On a Mac, you run the iOS operating system. Chromebook uses its own operating system. It's called Chrome OS. The difference between it and those other two is there's actually very little installed on a Chromebook. Most of it is out there in Google's cloud. On a PC and on a Mac, you have to always go in and update your software and update your operating system. On a Chromebook, you don't. It's always managed by Google in the background for you. Also, you can't install programs like Office or Outlook or Adobe Photoshop on a Chromebook. Everything that you use on a Chromebook is based on going to a website to use it. The nice thing about that is you don't really have to worry about getting a virus on a Chromebook because nothing is actually being installed on the Chromebook. It can't install malicious code like that. Doesn't mean people can't steal your information if you go to a website and type it in, but it does mean a virus can't be installed on the Chromebook. So all of your work is optimized to be on that thing called your Google Drive. So instead of using Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, you got to use the Google equivalent, and those are all based out of the Google Drive. I'm not going to spend too much time in this half-hour class talking about Google Drive. If that's what you're looking for, I will be doing that starting at 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and then I'll be doing it again on, I want to say it's May 14th. It's a Thursday, but it's going to be in the registration page that you signed up for this, and you can sign up now if you want for that. But I'm doing one at 3 today, and then one in about a week and a half on Google Drive. All right, so almost everything's based in the cloud. Almost nothing's installed in the machines. So the question I get all the time is, how can I install this on a Chromebook? The answer is you can't. If that's your question, the answer is always going to be you can't. You have to go to a website and sign in with a user ID and use the software via the internet, which means a Chromebook is somewhat useless if you don't have an internet connection. Although all of the Google apps can be set to work offline. Most things like WeVideo for video editing, you have to have an actual live connection. All right, technically you can print from a Chromebook, although at Shen there's only one location you can do that, and that's the High School East Library. If you have a Google Cloud Ready printer, you can connect your Chromebook to print to that. Okay, if you need help with that, drop in during my office hours, 9 to 11 and 1 to 2 almost every day. I have a Google Meet like this that I'll be able to answer those questions for you, or shoot me an email and I'll send you a link to the Google website that shows you which printers are compatible and how to hook it up. Okay, so we strongly encourage our teachers and our students to rethink how they work on a Chromebook and to try not to print too much, but to share things via the Google Drive and use them that way. All right, so at Shen we have, believe it or not, about 8,000 Chromebooks now in service. We have grades 4 through 12 that all have Chromebooks, and that's 800 students per grade. So when you do that math and you add in the faculty ones and other ones, it comes out to about 8,000 different Chromebooks, and we have 4 different models at Shen. Okay, I'm not going to really address the models too much at this point because they all do the same things, except some of them are touchscreen. That's the only difference. All right. So using a Chromebook works a lot like using a Mac in that how you navigate through it. So first, when you turn on the Chromebook, you do it just by opening it up. It'll automatically power on. You don't have to press the power button. If you do want to shut down the Chromebook, you can power it off by holding in the power button, which is either going to be on the top right-hand side of your keyboard. It's going to be a little icon that looks like that one, right? Watch this. I'll use some tech. Can you guys see my red dot now? Okay, so that's what the power button looks like on that top row of the keyboard. Or if you have a Lenovo, it's on the side. Okay, I feel like we should be doing a karaoke sing-along, and I'll bounce the dot from word to word. So at the end, if you guys want to stick around, we'll pick a song together. Okay. So powering it on, usually just opening it up. Shutting it down is not as simple as shutting the lid. If you shut the lid, you're still signed in. And when you open it back up, all you have to do is put in your password. But you didn't actually shut the Chromebook off. We do recommend that once per day, you shut the Chromebook completely down. Because unless the Chromebook is shut off, those updates I talked about earlier that Google automatically applies do not get applied to the Chromebook. So whether it's you or whether students that you're working with we strongly recommend to you that you have them shut down. I'll show you that real quick. I'm going to escape out of this presentation so you can see my desktop. And so then now you see my desktop. If I go down here to the bottom right-hand corner, there's this little section where it tells you how many messages you have, your internet connection, and the time. If you click in that little panel, it opens up a bigger panel where you get a lot of common things. I want to shut off my Wi-Fi. I want to shut off Bluetooth. If you're not using Bluetooth, you should shut it off because it wears your battery down quicker. Okay. I want to put it in night mode so the screen isn't as bright white because I'm sitting on my couch at night. Okay. Whatever those tools happen to be, this is your brightness control for the screen. This is your volume control for the speaker. Okay. All of those things are in here. Plus this little gear up here contains all the settings for a Chromebook. And I'm not going to go into all of those things today. But I did want to show you that right here is your shutdown button. If you press that and you say power off, it'll power the Chromebook completely down. No reason not to do that in between using it. Literally takes about 10 seconds to go from off to you signing into the desktop. Okay, so I would do that at least once a day. You will get notifications up here. You can close those notifications by simply going into them and clicking the X in the upper corner, and it will close those off for you. Or you can drag them to the right if you have a touch screen. You can't see me doing that with my finger now, but you see every time a message comes in, it pops it up there. You can hit clear all, and it will clear all of them for you. Okay, so this panel is very useful. Like I said, this gear takes you into the settings. That'll actually launch Chrome and open up a page in the web browser for you to change the settings for that Chromebook. Okay, one of the things I did right away, you may have noticed, is I'm 51, in case you guys didn't know. I took my cursor for this little 11-inch screen, and I said, whenever I move my cursor, put a red circle around it, so that way I could actually find my cursor. And that's in the assistive technology section of the settings. Okay, so I like that one. On my Chromebook, I always keep it on. I get really mad that I can't have it on my PC because Windows doesn't do it. Okay. All right, so you can also sign out here and someone else can sign in. On a Shen issued Chromebook, you cannot sign into it unless you have a Shen Schools account. So that means spouses or children, unless they are working for or enrolled in the Shen School District, can't use the same Chromebook. Or they have to use your account, which is somewhat problematic, right? Okay. Down at the bottom, it will show you your power. A Chromebook is designed to last somewhere between 8 to 10 hours without being charged. Okay, it's a lot more than a laptop, which is around 2 hours. Okay, so you can plug your Chromebook in one day, leave it unplugged probably for 2 or 3 days of use, and then plug it in again. Okay. All right. So back to the presentation real quick. And I'm going to jump back and forth. All right. When you close the Chromebook lid, it does lock the Chromebook so no one else can get in without that password. Okay. If that occurs, you can always hold the power button in for 5 seconds to power it off completely so that someone else could log in and use it too. Okay. This is the one that most people really want to get solved. The touchpad on a Chromebook. It drives some people nuts. They can't stand it. They don't like it. All right. Up to you. You can plug in a USB mouse or a USB wireless mouse. Both will work with a Chromebook. Okay. The main problem people have is scrolling and right-clicking on a Chromebook. And that's because they don't know it's 2 fingers. Not 2 fingers like V for victory, but 2 fingers like I'm a Boy Scout and I'm prepared. Okay, using 2 fingers and sliding them up or down on your touchpad will scroll you up or down on the page you're currently on if the page has more to see. Okay, 2 fingers and tap on your touchpad does what right-click does on a mouse. Okay, so just go ahead and give it a quick shot. If you take 2 fingers and you tap, it'll bring up the right-click menu and show you what things you can do right-clicking on something. 2 fingers and tap. Okay. 2 fingers and move them up or down scrolls you up or down on the screen. So you'd need a web page like CNN's web page where it's really long to try that 2 fingers and scrolls. So if you want to try that, give that a try. Then the last one is drag and drop, where you click and hold down on something and you move it. That one is really tricky. You need to use 2 fingers. Okay. What I strongly suggest to people is that you click on something with your thumb and hold your thumb down, and then use your index finger to move the thing from one spot on the screen to another. Okay. Luckily, the only time I tell people that they really need to use drag and drop is if they're moving files around in their Google Drive on a Chromebook. For the most part, drag and drop isn't as necessary on a Chromebook because you can't arrange the icons, for instance, on your screen. Okay, so 2 fingers and tap, right click. 2 fingers and drag up or down, that's your scroll. 2 fingers separated, pressing and holding down on the touchpad with one and moving the other is drag and drop. Okay, or you can just plug a mouse in. Okay. All right. Now we're going to take you through how you open programs on a Chromebook, how you find what's on the Chromebook, and that. And so I'm going to jump out of this presentation in just a second and show you that. I do want to point out, if you see that keyboard shortcuts, if you press Control, Alt, and question mark on your keyboard, what it will do is it will show you the different keyboard shortcuts and what they do on your Chromebook. So if you're one of those people that likes to use keys to jump from tab to tab, or to open new windows, or take a screenshot, okay, those are all here. And this menu, when you hit Control Alt question mark, that comes up, has pages and pages and pages of keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so I know we have at least one touch typist in this session. So if you're the keyboard shortcut person, Control, Alt, and question mark will show you all the different keyboard shortcuts you can use on a Chromebook. All right, so down here on the bottom are programs that are pinned to your start bar for you to start. There are 2 different types of icons down here on your toolbar. Icons surrounded by a white circle, which you guys will have very few of, are actually Android apps installed by IMS for you. You can't install Android apps on your own. You can only install Android apps that IMS allows. And in most cases, when we allow an Android app, we push it directly to you so that it's already installed for you. In almost every single case where there's an Android app installed, it's because it's curricularly needed for a subject. So like, for instance, Expeditions is one we push and install, and that's used to take virtual field trips by social studies and world languages. Google Classroom is one we installed because if you don't have the app for Classroom, you can't mark a PDF up with ink. Versus the Classroom website, which is over here, these essentially go to the same place. One does it through a little program, the other does it through your browser, but the little program one has more features. So we installed that for kids because of that. So down here are your commonly installed programs. You'll notice Google Drive, Chrome are there, okay, Gmail is there. Okay, not everything installed on here is available. Not everything installed on this computer is available on this bar. You will have to learn to use this little launcher over here in the bottom left-hand corner. When you click on that little launcher, it brings up a screen that doesn't look very important. But since some of you heard Mary Beth talk about it, if you type in TI-84 and you're in the group of people that we've installed the TI-84 calculator for, there it appears for you, and all you have to do is click on it to start it up. Like so. I don't know if Mary Beth is still here, but there's where the TI-84 calculator is on a Chromebook. Okay, so there are lots of other programs.
Yes, I'm still here, and I need one of them.
On a Chromebook, you can have one.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting a Chromebook these days.
Well, they do have 2 days a week where you can pick up Chromebooks at IMS if you put in a ticket requesting.
All right, all right.
So you'll notice that there's only a few things here. So basically, the way Google has worked it is if you type what you're looking for, it comes up. Okay, so you can see I'm typing a bunch of different things, and you can see they come up. So there is a built-in calculator. There's a scientific calculator that'll do a lot of things the TI-84 calculator will also. Okay, so all of the different programs and applications that you have access to are available here. This box is also a general Google search box. So how do I make videos? Okay, if you hit that, it'll just search just like you would normally on Google. Okay, so that launcher shows you all of the programs that you have available on the computer, and the 5 most commonly or most recently used ones are down here underneath that bar. This little up arrow, if you click on it, takes you so that you can see every program that's installed on your Chromebook. You'll notice that I have 4 different screens of those because I have access to a few more things than you guys do. You may only have 1 dot over here, which means it's just the things that you see here that are available to you. At any point, if you want to rearrange these by clicking and holding down on one of them, you can drag it and drop it on top of another one. And then instead of an individual application, you've now created a folder where you can store all common apps. So if you want to organize yours together so that all of your Google Drive ones are in one folder and all of your email or communications tools are in a different one, you can do that by dragging and dropping those icons on them. When I drag one and drop it on top of the other, it then says unnamed. I simply click underneath it, and that's where I can give this a folder. Google Stores. Folder name, I should say, excuse me. Okay, so that's a little bit about how you can organize your apps and your Google tools in here. Okay, again, launcher, you know what you're looking for, you just type it here. You don't know what you're looking for, you click this little up arrow, and it shows you everything. Okay, so that's going to show you what you have access to on your Chromebook. All right, so we're quickly running out of time, and I do want to save some time for specific questions, but I want to get to the one that I know most of you want, and is, how do I get rid of this blue background? If you take your 2 fingers and you tap on it, it'll bring up a little menu for you where you can choose whatever wallpaper you want for your background. Okay, Shen is not making you forcibly have that blue one. It's just what's there by default. If you go in here, you'll see that there are landscapes, there are leisure activities, there's illustrations, or you can upload your own image into your Google Drive and choose it. Okay, although it doesn't currently do it from here, so I'll have to research for you guys how to do that easily. But you've got plenty of different other choices to get you started, because you can scroll up and down and you can see in each category there's literally dozens and dozens. Okay, you can also, if you are the one person out of the 30 that we have that doesn't like their bar going across the bottom, you can 2 fingers and tap, and you can say put my shelf on the left or the right. You cannot put it on the top. So if you don't want it on the bottom, you want it up the left-hand side, you can do that, but it makes your time look weird. I don't understand why people like it, but some people do. Okay. You can also choose to hide that shelf. If you choose that auto hide, it'll disappear from the bottom and you have to move your mouse all the way to the bottom for it to come back up again. Okay, I do want to show one last thing before I take all your questions. There is a Files app on a Chromebook. When you go in that Files app, what you get is a look at what's saved on the actual Chromebook versus what's saved on your drive. So over here is your Google Drive. All of your folders and files that are in your Google Drive, just like normal, are there. However, you can save files directly to the Chromebook. Okay, and there is an images folder here, and you see my images folder is empty. My guess is if you saved a picture from a website into this images folder, it would then be available to you to use as a wallpaper. Remember how we had nothing in our images folder and wallpaper? So that's the Files app. In most cases, you're never going to need to use this because you don't save things to the Chromebook as much as you do to your Google Drive, which is the class coming up in 17 minutes. So, questions about using your Chromebook. What can I do this? Can I do that? Put them in the chat. Talk to me out loud. Or start dropping out.
Hi, John. I have a question.
Sure.
You know how we push shift to type the uppercase. What should we do if I want to type a bunch of them all in uppercase? How do I do that?
You're asking me. You're asking me about caps lock.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what the caps lock is. Look and see. All I would do is do this. I would come in here and do caps lock on a Chromebook. So it says how to turn on caps lock on a Chromebook. You hold down the Alt key and you hit the search magnifying glass.
Okay.
And that's a toggle. I can't remember those things, so I always just quickly Google them.
Okay. And then another thing, like how we can do the snapshot and the
Screenshot?
words. How
Sure,
do we,
I'll show you that
yes.
in just a sec. So Mary Beth, you have to put in a help desk ticket. If you send me an email, I'll send you the instructions on how to do that from home. You have basically send in an email and put the information in it. So just send me an email to remind me to send you that email with the instructions on how to put in a help desk ticket. Yep. So for those of you who want to know how to do a screen capture, again, if you hit Control, Alt, and question mark, it brings up all the keyboard shortcuts. And then on this screen here, I think it's towards the bottom, it's going to tell you that to do a screenshot, you use the Control key and the Window key. If you want to do a partial screenshot where you draw with your mouse around a box of what to capture, it's Control, Shift, and that key. Okay, that key is the 1, 2, 3, 6th one over from the left-hand side on the top row of your keyboard. It's the one that looks like a little square with 2 vertical lines next to it. You see that? George is still there, just in case you guys wanted to know. All right, so what other questions do we have?
Thank you, John.
Yep. I feel like an auctioneer.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Lori.
I have the screen, the keyboard screen on the actual laptop. How do I remove that from the screen?
You have a pop-up keyboard that you can press on the screen to use?
Yes.
And it's always there?
No, it's just happened today.
So usually that keyboard doesn't appear until you open the Chromebook past 90 degrees. So and it has to be a touchscreen Chromebook. So if you're looking at mine right now, I'm trying to shut some screens here for you to make it look. And I go put the keyboard so that it's flat underneath, and then I touch the screen. It usually pops up the keyboard. Whoop! It usually pops up the keyboard. The way I usually fix that is by taking the computer and flexing it back to regular, where the keyboard is flat and the screen is 90 degrees vertical. Did that do it?
I can't tell unless I'm typing, so 1 second.
So is it your keyboard flat right now and your screen's up perpendicular?
Yes.
And it's still showing that on-screen keyboard?
It's not showing it right now because I'm not typing. If I start to type, it's just hard to remove it where it takes up half the screen.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Turn off the enable button. Okay.
Yep. So it's saying go in here, go to this gear right here. And then it's in the advanced. So over here is advanced. And it says it's under the accessibility section.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm just making sure it's in here. Yeah, see here, enable on-screen keyboard.
Okay.
This one here.
7.
So that's the gear, advanced on the left-hand side, accessibility. And you guys just all learned my secret. When you call me on the phone, what I do is I just Google it and answer you that way. Sometimes I know the answer, but so many things to know nowadays.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. I mean, if it doesn't work, Lori, just drop into my Hangout during the day from 9 to 11 or 1 to 2, and we'll work on it together.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys got what you wanted out of the class. I'm going to shut this meet down so I can jump over into the one for 3 o'clock. So have a good night.